That's some wild shit. He had like 1,000
You
gallons of fucking baby
Paul.
oil.
But,
Who needs that much baby oil?
oh, I saw it, like gallons and gallons of it, wasn't there?
He had a room for it, like dedicated for baby oil.
Yeah.
Imagine what went down in that room.
Oh, he. But do you know what? I've seen
Slip
some
and slide
like
parties.
YouTube shorts and stuff of rappers over the years talking about him being a freak and a diddler. Like just stuck some
see what you
lyrics
did
in
there. Diddler.
Yeah. Some of Eminem's called him out a few times. 50 Cent, it's been his life's mission for the last 10 years to
Yes. Yeah.
call him out.
And poor Usher's just caught in the middle.
Did I ever tell you that my other half got locked in a shop with him a few years ago?
No,
With
We
Diddy.
were on vacation in Vegas, and I was playing poker, so wifey takes herself off shopping, so she obviously goes to the Rolex shop because she's a fucking poser. This is before she owned one. And she was the only person in there. She was just like hobnobbing around, like, pretending she's loaded. And in comes some black dude with a massive entourage. She got no idea who it fucking is. And she has to spend 15 minutes in the shop with him, not allowed to leave because they locked the place up, so he can have it exclusively to himself plus her. But there was no baby oil involved.
yeah. And did
Not that
you
you
buy
know
her a
about.
watch?
No, he didn't.
That's tight, isn't it?
But she does own a Rolex now, but
Yeah.
not at the time.
That's common here at the Galleria in Houston. If you go to one of the fancy watch shops like the Rolex shop, or there's some other smaller shops where they only let one person at a time and they lock the door behind you because they have so much expensive shit in there. Pretty weird.
So it
I wouldn't want
works.
to be in there.
Right.
I guess I'm just
The
not there.
amount of times we've been in that shop and there's never anyone in there. And then just that one random day, she gets locked in with a celebrity. She has no idea who it fucking is.
Yeah. Well, now he's locked up.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to kick off season 5, episode 1, though.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Recorded.
Holy shit. Okay.
We can take it out if you want.
No, absolutely not.
Did I say
It's got
anything
content.
incriminating?
No, you didn't. Not
No, that's
while we're
good.
recording anyway.
So we're back.
Yeah. How are you guys
We're
liking the
so
game so
back.
far?
Am I liking what?
How are you liking the game so far?
Fucking dreadful.
The first few hours are hard, man. I was like, oof, I'm not sure if this is for me when I first loaded it up, but it gets better.
I've played about 4 hours and scored about 3 goals.
Yeah. That's how it
Really?
goes.
Oh. I have
Just rivals,
messed
I'm
about
guessing.
with tactics now a little bit. I use those that Matt sent yesterday in Discord. But I couldn't get on with that, so I've tried another one. And I scored 2 goals in a game. Still lost 6-2, but I scored 2. But yeah, it just... I don't think I've struggled like this early before. Do you know what I mean? It's always like, you always try to sort of find your feet, aren't you, and figure out, but there's usually something that works.
You're
Or
getting a kind
everybody's
of-
struggling.
You're getting a kind of unfair representation, though, of what the game's like and what your level is, because you're in Div 5 with a bunch of sweats from last year who have been playing it a few days ahead of you, built their teams up. You've got no team, no experience of the game yet. You're just getting pelted by all the tryhards who bought Ultimate Edition. I'm sure it'll get softer when the full release comes out. But the sooner they start redistributing the rivals divisions properly, so you can actually get relegated and sort of work your way up as you're supposed to. I'm not sure if it was a great idea what they did there. I mean, why don't we just all start at the bottom and work our way up? Why did we have to go back into a league that we sweated to get into last year? But whatever, it's not the end of the world. But it's just going to mean your acclimatization to the game is going to be a little bit slower than perhaps in previous years.
Oh, it's definitely slow. And do you know what baffles me? I suppose it is like full-on sweats in that Division 5, but they've all got insane teams. Like, all the teams are like 300k to 1 mil plus. You know, People have got Saliba, Rudiger, Haaland, Bellingham, and I'm like, oh, mate, like, I'm using a 67 pace CDM.
Cool.
I'm using Milinkovic Savic, actually. That's what I'm using. But yeah, we'll get there, won't we? Do you know what I mean? It's just tough at the moment.
Did I tell you I packed Virgil van Dijk?
You did? Well,
Yeah,
you didn't tell me. I saw it in the Discord.
In case I didn't tell Matt, I packed Virgil van Dijk.
Good for you.
And Phil
You're
Foden.
sorted for the next 6 months.
Foden's phenomenal.
Yeah, I just sold him. But yeah, he is phenomenal.
Yeah. Those Div 5 sweats have been absolutely torturing me with him.
Yeah. See, we're going to get into gameplay. Do you want to do gameplay first, I guess, since we're already here?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
So, I feel like, Matt, you put this in your little notes as well. Pace. Initially, I felt like pace was not near as important in this year's game. It's more about acceleration, quick twitch, dribbling, close to the body dribbling, small, feints, body feints, that kind of stuff, because it's super hard to react defensively to that kind of behavior, at least in the current build with the cards that we have now. It does help having Virgil, not going to lie. But
yeah,
before I had him, I was struggling. So I feel like this might be, at least currently, you're just confined to whatever cards you have at the moment. And if you have the right cards, you're going to be kind of assisted. Until last night, I was playing a guy who was patient as hell on defense, just dropping it back, packing the box. And Sorloth outran my entire fucking defense 3 times. Got in behind. No one could catch him. I think his pace is like 78 or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Was he on the ball or was he chasing the ball?
On the ball. Couldn't run him down with Virgil. Couldn't run him down with Baca. Couldn't run him down with anybody.
I
was very frustrating.
A CDM named Vesga from Athletic Bilbao who has 33 pace, and he was like just bombing past people. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I mean, he's not quick to accelerate, but once he gets there, he was doing some work. But I still think it's going to be less prevalent on pace. I mean, once you get to a certain extreme, obviously pace counts enormously. If you're like 25, 30 pace points faster than the people you're defending against, then that's going to be a problem. But once we start getting into, as the cards start to evolve, the database improves and the pace gap's like 10 between defenders and attackers, then it's going to come down to these little twitch moves that we're talking about. And I think that might open up more of the database in the same way that we saw when we added lengthy accelerates and stuff. So certain big, heavier cars could be usable. This will do the same for certain players who are high on technique, have good attributes other than pace, but you just couldn't use them in Ultimate Team. Now you might be able to. So I'm talking like a Dusan Tadic or an Angel Di Maria, someone like that. If you have, and I'm sure we'll talk about the pace boost move with your LB to R2, whatever it is, which just opens up a shooting chance. And I'm already referring to it in my head as the Doku move, because you see him do that in real life where he just basically stands in front of a defender and suddenly just jinks. And that's like 50 million's worth of one-trick pony. But it does work in real life. And you can already see how people are using that to great effect. If you can get one-on-one with a defender, and let's say you've got Salah, or a long-range finesse shooter, and you just need that yard of space to get the shot off, just doing that little jink, which I'm sure Paul hasn't learnt yet, but he will do over the course of next week, opens up so many attacking opportunities, and you don't need to be fast to do it.
Yeah. So
you're going to see different ranges of attackers. I'm sure everyone still wants 90-plus pace players, but there might be a possibility, particularly through Evos, where we can start seeing different parts of the database that we're not used to seeing getting utilised, because this is going to be a massive part of the meta this year. That one technique is totally different to anything we've seen in previous EAFCs or FIFAs, whatever you want to call them. So learning that, how to get that into certain gameplay situations is going to be, the difference maker in once we start playing competitively in the next couple of weeks when Weekend League starts. So people who can do that well and have the kind of long-range finishes or have that intuition when to do it in and around the box just to get like a low-driven shot off, something like that. That's going to be a big part of what we see the first couple of weekends, I think.
Yeah. And you talk about quick twitch movements. There's one in particular that I'm seeing a lot of people abuse in Rush and Foot. And it's the one where you hold L1 and then move your stick to whatever direction you want to go and then hold R2. You get a tremendous pace boost, especially if you have the Rapid Plus trait. So maybe look at finding players that have Rapid Plus and practice that. Hold L1, shift to R2, and go into the direction you want to go. You just fly past the defenders.
I imagine high agility is going to be a big part of that as well.
Yeah, reactions
I say
as well.
that is basically what Jeremy Doku does in real life. Rinse and repeat. That's his one thing, and he's devastating with it. So once people start finding the ways to use that effectively, you're going to see a lot of different situations that we're not used to seeing. My only concern with it is I think it's cool. I've used it to reasonably good effect, but once people get good at it, fail to see how it's defendable, which is going to upset a lot of people. It's like if you're good at it, you'll just get away with it, unless as defenders improve over the course of time, the stats give them that little bit of edge. But you can't pace boost your defender in the manner that those attackers can do. So how are they going to be able to keep up to defend the shot? And I think what it ultimately comes down to is a massive change in how we're used to defending an Ultimate Team, whereas everyone's for years just been hyper aggressive, get touch tight to people. You can't do that now. If you get touch tight, that particular skill move is just going to blow you away and you'll never recover. You need to defend more zonally so you can actually block a shot that comes off the back of that trick, and using your teammate contain to try and isolate the directions that they can go in, send them into zones of play where they can't hurt you with that trick. And that's going to take a lot of time for people to get used to. It's a complete and utter departure from what we've learned over the last few years. And, some people are really going to struggle with it.
I feel like it's the new directional nutmeg. You know what I mean? Like, you can defend it sort of, but people who are good at it, you've got a problem. Because I think I only noticed it yesterday. I was popping up on Twitter and stuff, but only noticed in Rivals people using it. And with a sort of bigger, heavier, clunky fullbacks that I have and centre-backs, like trying to react to that was just impossible. I also noticed as well, I've played a couple of guys who have been sort of left stick dribbling, and just a slight movement, they'll be going one way, a slight movement the other to make you react, and then keep going. And it's almost like the animation doesn't stop. It's just like the head moves. So you react to that, but it carries on going the same way at full pace. And
it's much harder to change directions as a defender than it is an attacker.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on the attacking side, start getting familiar with L1 dribbling. If you hold L1 and just kind of rotate that left stick around, it just kind of like floats around. And I like to go backwards with it. That's what I've been doing. Just kind of go backwards, get him to step into some space, and then hit him with that R2, and then you're in.
Yeah.
It's a very easy way to beat somebody who's passively defending you, which it's kind of like Matt said, that's kind of how you have to defend this year. But if you can get good, I know that nobody hates that term, but if you can get good at that L1, R2, to me right now, that's one of the early quote metas that you're going to find people abusing, and it does work.
Are we thinking that L1 has taken over from the R1 of last year?
Yeah, because I don't know if you've noticed yet, Paul, but if you just, like, from a standing start, just try and run using R2, it's so slow to be like, you need to do something to boost up before holding down R2 and getting into a sprint. If you just try and sprint off the spot, you're dead. So you need to do that trick or a step over something that's going to, dynamically boost you, and then you sprint with R2 thereafter, but you'll quickly slow down again. So it's almost like it wants you to carry on chaining those type of moves to keep your pace up.
Ball rolls help
which
too.
falls into the hands of skillers and people who are
Yeah.
good on the left stick, that kind of thing. So I think based off very early observations that the type of players that were introduced last year, your diminutive, highly technical, like female players, particularly in the midfield, are going to crush this year because of that, because they can change direction on a dime and just like send you to Tesco repeatedly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what those first meta squads look like when we get to Weekend League, which I know there's another couple of weekends away. I think you're going to see a lot of that, like Barcelona, female-dominated teams, that kind of thing.
Going back to speed boost there, Matt, I've been using the modified heel-to-heel where you use fake shot and left trigger. And if you catch the right trigger, if you time it right with the fake shot, it does a heel-to-heel like speed boost. And that's really good for sort of getting into space. Not that it's done me any good. I've got into space and then got tackled, but I can see that being great, especially with my fullbacks. I packed that Adoge, and he's
cool.
a big lad. He needs something to boost to get him going, and I've noticed that.
I do feel like lengthy players, though. If you're lengthy as an attacker, that's almost better than having 99 pace that's balanced. At this stage of the game, like I said, that Sorloth, I couldn't catch him with anybody. And that was the first time I had seen that. And maybe it was connection related. I guess time will tell. It could just be anecdotal, but it doesn't matter who I have on the wings. Mallory Swanson, even with a Hunter or a Catalyst with damn near max pace, she still gets caught up to extremely easy by anyone who's defending. So it does seem like Matt alluded to, the days of just sending that through ball down the line and outrunning the defense, as far as I know right now, those days are over because the way that defenders close down so quickly, which I'm not sure I'm not against it because it makes the game more tactical. It makes it more, how good are you tactically? How good are you technically? Because you can have the fastest player just pinging a fucking early cross and whatever, but how well is your game overall,
Terrible.
Instead of just,
I don't know if you've noticed this. The fullbacks seem to be really tight to the line. So when you're playing those through, but trying to play those through balls down the wing, it's impossible.
I think that
unless
depends
you're
on
looping
how
it over the top.
That probably depends on how people have them set up. Like, so if you have them set up as a true fullback defending, they will sit close and tight to the line. But I like to use Bacha as an attacking wingback. So she sits up almost like a left mid. So a lot of times I get caught out because she's out of position, essentially. But she does so much for me in the attack that I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's early doors in it as well. It's gonna, over the next 4 weeks, we're gonna come in with all sorts of stuff where we're like, oh, this, and we might be wrong about it all. Do you know what I mean? Once people start getting better teams, better players, you'll really find out what the meta's going to be and what's what. But people who are really good at this game are struggling. Not saying I'm good at the game, but I mean,
you started in Division 5, so that says something, right?
I'm saying people who are,
Tom Stokes,
pro level Stokes. He said the other day that he was, as a gameplay streamer, he's concerned they can't play the gameplay. But guys who are at that level will definitely find the feet and they'll be smashing people in no time. But it just shows how different it is in many ways, from 24.
Yeah,
I think it needs to as well. Like we haven't had too many gameplay innovations or major departures from what we used to year on year. It's just like one or two things you got to tweak, and then you can basically slot back in year on year, right? But this is quite significantly different. And I see some people online saying, oh, how's the game? Oh, it's the same shit as last year. No, there's a lot more going on under the hood. It all looks the same. It's not cosmetically, graphically any better than it was, that kind of thing. But I do think if you're going to stick around and play this over the long haul, you've got to change your game. I already struggle to play in the manner that I'm accustomed to playing this game, like the whole map meta thing, whether it's just that the players aren't available yet, or I'm lacking the full understanding of the new tactics system. It was very hard to implement with like a day one squad. So maybe I'm asking for too much. I have to really go back to basics and play a 4-3-3 with the type of standard technical semi-fast players that you would expect to see in that formation. So people just can't carry over what they did last year, particularly when they're used to using like 99 rated players and the game feels kind of fast. It feels a lot slower. You're using normal cards, getting used to these gameplay quirks that were absent last year. But that's the fun of starting a new game. If we're just carrying on from last year, well, what's the point? You're just hitting reset on your club. You could have just deleted your club and carried on as you were in FIFA 24. So I'm all for it. It's just going to take a lot of getting used to, but that's going to be part of the fun. And I'm sure we can all get some decent hours in before the first weekend league and be semi-prepared for what's coming. I definitely want to work more on my tactical game because I find that tactics screen highly unintuitive. It's baffling. You can't do anything in it very quickly. If you try and make changes, say at halftime or during a pause in a match, it's nigh on impossible. So you really got to fine tune your systems before you go into a game. At least, for me, being a bit of a boomer, that's where I'm at with it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding it very, very difficult.
So I spent about 3 hours last night playing with just tactics, just fucking around with it, trying different things, not really giving a shit if I was winning or losing in Rivals, just paying attention to what the players were doing relative to what I told them to do and where they were, what space they were hanging out in. And I would encourage everybody to go in and look. And when you assign your roles, there's an option to look at it without the ball and with the ball. It's tremendously different if you switch to with the ball because players start to move in those assigned roles. So they're no longer defending. And what I noticed initially was I had so many players in some situations, like 3 players bunched up in one side. And I was struggling to create because nobody was going into space because they were all in the same quadrant of the field or of the pitch, whatever. So as soon as I started spreading them out, making them occupy different areas, and I played a slow build up. So, slow build up, passing, tiki-taka style football. I was able to move the ball. I was able to possess the ball, do 1-2 passes. But what really started setting it apart once I had everybody where I wanted them was directional runs. Directional runs are huge, at least currently, because the way the defenders AI track these runners, you can run a center back completely off the pitch. If you send somebody on a directed run toward the flag, that center back will grab them and run completely out of the way. And there's a massive hole for you to just dribble into. And it pulls the other center back towards you and you just dish that pass out. I put some clips in the Discord in the tactics channel last night to go check out. And I also shared the setup that I'm using. It's a 4-2-1-3 tiki-taka style. I'm not saying this is the meta. This is what works for me. So if you're struggling, give it a try, and might give you some success.
Yeah,
Paul,
that's a fun thing for a lot of people at this time of year, and it just being able to mess with that stuff. But for me, I'm somebody who just wants to plug and play. I haven't got time to be spending 45 minutes trying to figure out those daft fucking
what are you trying to say?
menus, tactics.
Well, that's what you got the presets for. If you just want to casual, just go in there. But
I've been using some of those, and I got a couple of codes from Reddit or whatever earlier. I want to try some of them, but it is definitely going to take some getting used to, innit? Because it's all new, all very different.
Yeah, I think it takes longer to put a good tactic together now. You can't just flick a couple of presets for every formation that you play and use the same thing. You got to go into a player-by-player basis and work out what works, and not just the tactic, but the players you're using in that tactic, because you can port my system into your team, but you've still got to set up the roles for your team to play well. Otherwise, they're just going to be all over the place. And I think that's where some people are going to like borrow a tactic from somebody and then wonder why it's not working because they didn't bother to set that up, and that just takes a couple of minutes just poking around. But I think it's also important to realise that the game's already encouraging us to behave in a certain way by assigning players into roles where they get a plus or a double plus. That might not work for your system. So it's like you're kind of defining a player behavior based off what the card suggests you should use it, but is it the way you want that player to actually behave? So there needs to be some experimentation. Don't just plug in the best role that card has. It might not work the way you want it to. But just like chemistry, it's like sometimes there's a meaningful way to sacrifice chemistry to get an overall better result, and this is going to be the same thing with roles. It's like, do I take the full boost that it provides that card, or do I sacrifice the boost to implement a different kind of tactic that I think is going to be more effective? And I'm sure you'll see more of that as the cards improve, where they're less reliant on whatever benefits they get from having a plus or plus plus role. But it's week 1, so we're still figuring this out at the moment. But I think a lot of people will just default to whatever the best role that card suggests they have, rather than what their system suggests or desires them to have. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that screwed me up a little bit first few games I played, because I were like plus wing back for one of my fullbacks. And I didn't want him as a wing back. I wanted him to be staying back and defending. So it took me a little while to figure that out. But it's also difficult that this time of year, you're constantly changing your team. And I think this is just another way for him to have you spending more time on the game. And
it's definitely going to keep you in the menus more, which I'm 100%. Sure they're happy about.
But it does. You'll bring, you'll pack a card from a 75 plus or whatever it is, and you'll think, I'll use that card. But then you've got to go in and then start figuring out what his roles are and all that. But I have been a bit negative here, but I do struggle with that type of thing anyway. My brain doesn't like that sort of details. I'm not a details guy. Do you know what I mean?
Except for when it comes to coins.
Yes. That's something else. I've not been that bothered about trading.
You're feeling okay.
I'm not that fussed. I'll don't get me wrong, I've been doing a little bit, but I have been on holiday as well, Anna, so I haven't had loads of time. So I've been spending the time I have got playing rather than pissing about trading.
You'll get pissed off with the gameplay enough to where you'll start trading hardcore again.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's a matter of time.
I noticed today I missed all the price range updates, which I was a little bit annoyed about, because there's always loads of coins to be made when cards get price range updates. And yeah, they've all shot up.
Yeah.
So, because there were loads extinct, weren't there?
Yeah.
Loads of the meta sort of 20 to 150k cards were extinct. I just bought Nico Williams. He's an unbelievable looking card. He's got 5-star weak foot, rapid plus, and he's 85 rated this year. I think, what is 79 last year? He's got finesse shot, gold rapid, flair, quick step, relentless, and Travella. 93 pace. His shooting isn't amazing, but it's all right. 82 short pass, 92 agility, 84 balance. I'm looking forward to using him. And he might rise a little bit as well. I was a bit late buying him, but he's here now. We're buying him. We're using him.
I packed the inform Lamine Yamal, and he has a 3-star weak foot, as we talked about offline, but card is amazing. He dribbles very well. Yeah, so smooth on the ball. That finesse shot cutting in on his left foot, it's just disgusting. I mean, I feel like at the rate he's going this year, that card is going to be something special toward the end of the year. once we get some more versions of him.
How are we doing with long range shots, finesses or power shots?
I'm hitting a couple.
Do you have to have finesse plus?
No,
just normal finesse works.
Yep. I mean, it's not like completely broken. Like I've missed way more than I've made, but I'll if I have some space, I'll let one rip every now and then, and it's going on. Like Mallory Swanson, I made a couple with her. I'm not sure if she has the regular play style or not, but she was a good one.
You maybe want to go play again now.
That's what we're here for.
Right, thanks. That's the end of this week's episode. We'll see you next week.
Tell you one thing I've not managed to do yet, score chip. Seems a lot harder to chip the keeper now. I don't know if you guys have had that experience or not. Even with like players who've got the chip shot trait, I haven't quite got the timing of it right yet. Every time I try and do it, it's like I'm just a little bit too close to the goalie. I just managed to scoop it out of the air, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I've seen a few scored in rush as well, but
the gameplay is just different in rush. Things happen differently.
Keepers come flying out, don't they? So it's a bit easier, I think. But
if you try and cross the ball in rush, it's like the ball gets filled with helium before you do it.
It just floats in, doesn't it?
But one thing I did learn from a friend is if you have the long ball trait, that helps. So like you can go to pro clubs, make your club's character, and play rush in clubs, which also gives you season points toward the season objectives, which is another cool thing that we're going to get into later. So you can play different game modes and get season points towards foot, which is really neat. But if you assign the long ball trait, it gets much better. And if you do precision passing, also in rush, is much more efficient, I guess, than waiting for that helium-filled football to float down to the person who's marked by every single defender on the pitch.
Yeah. I feel like they've nailed it with rush. Like
I wouldn't say they nailed it.
Don't get me wrong, there's some issues, but when it comes to fun,
very fun.
It just is.
Well,
and I've played drop-ins mostly. I played with George the other day, so it was me, George, and two randoms.
And you enjoyed it.
I was even surprised how selfless some of the drop-ins players were. Like squaring it.
Yeah, not my experience.
Oh, you'll be playing with other Americans, though, won't you?
No, I was playing on European servers. I was playing with guys from Scotland and England.
Oh, there you go. You're a chill.
Dude, it was like we got the most retarded players to drop in with us. They felt like they were messy. They felt like they could take on every single person without passing. They're just going to dribble through everybody. And it went on that way for the entire game. Like, we get crushed because this dude's just prime Messi, but he's not. Very frustrating. It's a completely different experience when you're playing with four actual people you know, can talk to, can communicate with, versus playing with randoms. I won't play with randoms. I'll play with one random. That's it.
Your teammates down in rush?
I don't know. I should try.
Yeah. I think that might be the move. Just go straight through back of them.
Yeah. Fucking kill him.
Because, they're doing flipping crazy skill moves that they don't know how to do, really. They're just waggling I
think they're trying to get
the
points,
right
though.
stick.
They're just trying to boost up their player if it's in clubs, anyway.
Yeah, I've not played it in clubs. I've only played it in Ultimate Team. But you're restricted to 79, aren't you? They did drop another one last night.
They change the requirements every couple of days, so mix it up a little bit.
They tried to drop a new one last night.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but nobody could get into a game, so they just sacked it off.
It was just a visual glitch only, though.
Yeah, but it looked like, I don't know if it was supposed to be. I don't know if the points were as intended, but because there were no restrictions on it, you could get ridiculous amounts of points if it let you go in again. I think it was 700 or 900 per slot, so it'd have been thousands.
Yeah. How long did it take you guys to get all of your rush points? Didn't take any time at all. Huh?
I've only played a couple because I was just losing my rag with randoms, just basically running into brick walls and not passing. And but I can see the potential in the game mode there's definitely going to be a certain crowd of players who become like rush specialists. You can perhaps they're not like the best skillers, so they can't compete on that ultra elite level and the full ultimate team game, but they'll do well because they're a good team player and intelligently read the game, that's the one thing I take from playing with randoms. The football IQ of some people is just absolutely ridiculously bad. Like they cannot read what's going on whatsoever.
So they don't have FCIQ.
Yeah, if there's people out there who think like there's no like easy games left in an ultimate team, Rush has proven otherwise. We're just like very secluded from that play. So unfortunately, they keep those guys well away from people who listen to this podcast. Put it that way.
Nobody. Well, I've seen it. I've like sort of stayed back and covered defensively, but if you do that, nobody else does it. So you're just stuck there then, and you end up with a really shitty rating because all your teammates have just. And if you do decide to go up, everybody else does as well. So then you just get counted. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah. To those people who've tried Rush and you hate it, try playing it with actual human beings that you're talking to and communicating with. It's a completely different experience. You will love it. And Matt, I really take offense to the fact that you're talking down Rush as if it's the kiddie pool of swimming pools.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying you'll find those kind of players if you play with randos. Like
I know what you mean.
The brain on some of these people is just unbelievably bizarre.
No brain.
And anyway, that's where the casuals are going to be this year. I think you can just get in, get out very quickly.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it doesn't have any consequence whether you win or lose. It's just a bit of fun. But it is frustrating if you're a competitively minded player and you have to play with dimwits.
Yeah.
But find some friends in it.
There was a few times though where there were these guys who were just ball hogs, didn't want to share it, and I would deliberately pass it to them. Just to see what they would do. And sometimes they would understand like, oh, when you pass, it actually makes sense and we can score. So try to pass it to the guy, even though they're being a dick, just to see. And if they don't, fuck them, kill them, snap them, whatever, quit. But if you are that guy, don't be that guy. Just don't.
And if you're not going to play, don't stay in the game and leave your guy just sort of looking shaking about on the sidelines.
Yeah, they're going to rubber band it for the points.
Like, get out. I had it yesterday where a guy would just left his guy in the game.
Yeah.
So then we were just down to 3. And then I got a blue card. So we're down to 2. What pretty?
That's the thing I like a lot is the blue card system.
Yeah.
So
you can tell an American made this
punishes you without just ruining the game completely, which is often the case when you're playing online, and that will discourage people from quitting, hopefully. Which has been one of the biggest problems that we've had in competitive Ultimate Team. Maybe blue cards is the way forward because once someone gets a red, they just want to quit out, and that just kills everything. So what's the point?
Oh, on that subject, in the deep dive, I'm sure it said that if you quit Rivals games, you lost your points, or you were deducted a point. Am I right?
I'm not sure. I've not quit one yet.
Because it's not happened. I've quit a couple of games and not lost any of my 2 points that I've got in Rivals.
What do you mean your points?
So you get points, don't you? Do you get 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, and you need 15 points for rewards?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that if you were going to quit, you lost a point.
Yeah, it's just a visual glitch only, Paul.
Yeah, but that's not been the case. Or maybe I just fucking imagined it.
You could have.
Could have done.
Did you do any drugs on your vacation?
No, I want to talk about on the podcast.
Oh, okay, all right, moving on. What about the menus? How have you guys found the menus?
Glitchy.
It was okay, like the first day. Like it felt snappy, but then the more people got online, it just felt shit, which is disappointing. How's it like on PC?
The menus themselves are fine, but when you bring the screen up to assign something to a player, like either compare price, apply a consumable, if you hit send to club, it like doesn't work. You have to hit it twice, and sometimes you have to hold it. And then when you're holding the stick and the button, when it releases, your cursor moves like 3 things to the right because it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something's fucky with it for sure.
It's like that on console. Like you try and apply an injury thing and you like having to press it 3 or 4 times to get it to do it. Or, if you want to quick sell it or whatever it might be, it's just not doing it. Just
like
slow.
For the time, you're going to have 2 shadows left in your club. You're going to go to apply one and you accidentally apply 2.
Yeah. I think we had issues early on with menus last year.
You always do.
Them being slow.
There's
and
always
delayed.
issues in the first.
So I'm sure they'll fix it.
I have heard it's much worse on console though. I mean, overall, like game heaviness supposedly is worse on console. I was looking at a tweet from Tom Stokes, the one you referenced earlier about him being a gameplay streamer, being concerned about gameplay. Krasi posted on there, was talking about how much better it is on PC, and Nick Run the Foot Market, same thing. But 2 people now that I know personally have had their PS5s overheat since playing FC25.
Oh, really?
Could be coincidence. Could be a complete coincidence.
Why not?
But
mine were pretty hot yesterday, actually, my Xbox, because I moved it downstairs.
I don't know. Might be something to it.
Well,
unoptimized code just frying everyone's GPU.
Imagine the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, they still haven't fixed the flipping controller issues on Xbox. That left bumper still goes after about a year.
Well, the good thing is no one's consoles has exploded yet, like the pagers.
Do you know what? If you're still using a pager, you deserve to be blown up.
Ooh.
Well,
Wow.
they did. Most of them did die, didn't they? They were just injured a little bit.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's been quite a few deaths, and getting your ball bag blown off's pretty much as good as dead, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure which is worse.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't use a pager.
The pain. You just think about the pain of a fucking pager exploding on your balls.
Especially if you don't know what the page said.
I'm just thinking of the scene from RoboCop where he shoots that dude in the dick.
Yeah.
That's the kind of scream you're going to get when that pager goes off.
Oof. Yeah.
Well, it has Hezbollah. About the
Something like that.
pages.
So allegedly it was the Israelites who did it to the Hezbollah terrorists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Israelites? Is that the biblical term for them?
Israelites.
I don't know.
Hunter won't know that one.
No, I don't.
Tune that.
Send in the tune.
Top tune. Put it on as outro.
So we have a question that came in from...
Wow, that was quick. In real time?
No, I just noticed it. I was browsing. It came in today at 8:30 a.m. Viney SH says, with Rivals upgrades at 45 points, 15 wins, and shortening squad battles to 12 games, so more people maximize their squad battle play and get to rewards, increasing the player pool, making it harder to get best rewards, do you have any recommendation for someone who is probably not getting to 15 wins in Rivals per week to maximize rewards in the shortest amount of time possible? I have no chance in champs. Okay, this man sounds like your average casual foot player, so he probably speaks for a lot of people when he's asking this question. I'm going to turn this one to Matt first.
I have no idea. It's too early.
I'm going to turn this one to Paul.
I know people are looking to us for pearls of wisdom, but we're still figuring this stuff out for ourselves. I doubt there's going to be like a super efficient way of doing this. EA construct these systems deliberately to get you to engage on the level that they desire you to engage. So there's not going to be easy shortcuts to it, unfortunately. I think the only thing I can suggest is if you look at some of the stuff that's in objectives at the moment for like foundations players, that kind of thing, there's multiple objectives that you can do with the right combination of team to unlock multiple objectives, multiple free cards at the same time to boost yourself up a little bit and save time. So have a look at that. Like there's a Liga F and Portuguese League Foundations ones, you can kind of do those in parallel, at least some of them at the same time, not every single objective, but you can do one or two and then other ones cross over once you completed the first couple. And it saves a lot of time, gets you some decent free cards, some XP, that kind of thing. As far as Rivals go, we haven't had the first Rivals rewards, we haven't had Weekend League. We got in a couple of squad battles before the deadline, so didn't get too much reward there. So I think this is something that we should look again next week when we've had an experience as to what a full-on playthrough of the rival system of squad battles and what it looks like, what's worth your time, what isn't. But we've always been of the opinion, whether it's absolutely legitimate or not, that squad battles just doesn't pay out like a competitive game most does in terms of the rewards it gives you, right? I'm sure someone will go, well, I packed Ronaldo last year. Well, yeah, of course, one or two people do. But in general, I think we're all kind of on the same understanding that it's just fodder for your club, basically, as far as rewards go. Most people aren't getting great stuff out of squad battles rewards. So it's up to you how you want to choose to use your time effectively, rewards or not. I don't find squad battles fun and never have, so I do the bare minimum I need to get done what I need to get done, but I don't get any enjoyment out of playing it, so I'd rather put my time into something I enjoy, whether that's Rush, Rivals, whatever it happens to be, and you just take your rewards as a bonus for the time you've invested and worry more about having fun than what you're getting in reward. You know, the gameplay, the fun you get out of that is supposed to be the reward. It's why you play the game, not for some artificial reward that 9 times out of 10 is going to be completely useless to you anyway.
Yeah. I kind of feel like if just to go on the other side of this though, if you do enjoy playing squad battles and you're worried about getting the maximum amount of rewards, think of it as like a time for money standpoint. Like I would first play my squad battles games, make sure I knock those out, but play on a difficulty to where you can score at least 5 goals, try to keep a clean sheet because you will get more points for playing that on pro than you would scoring 2 goals on world class. So know your opponents, know your difficulty, and knock those out as soon as you can, and then move towards Rivals and start that grind. Just try to get the most out of your time spent if you're seriously worried about rewards. But like I said, if you want to enjoy the game, just find what fits you and the rewards will come. Paul, you're muted.
I've just been looking at the point system for Rivals, and the standard rewards is 15 points, which is only 5 wins. So if you're in a lower division and you can compete in Rivals and get, 3 or 4 wins and a couple of draws, you'll be on your way to some rewards. And like Matt said, objectives. I bought a manager today and got a little pack for that. So there's lots of little things in objectives. Moments also, there's some decent rewards in moments if you grind that. And I think you've got your 100 goals and stuff that you can do quite easily. There was something in the moments that people have been talking about this week, saying that I think you had to play on Legendary, which was almost impossible. Like, not you didn't have to play on Legendary, but they were like the highest one. But people were getting past it by plugging 2 controllers in for couch play, picking your opponent with your second controller and getting it done that way, because apparently without that, it was almost impossible.
See, I saw that post, and shit like that at this stage of the game, just it annoys me to no end, because if you're willing to do that and the game has been out, it's not even fully out yet. We're still in early release and Ultimate Edition release. What are you doing? Like,
They're hungry for them packs.
It's so fucking disgusting though. Like, you are a slave to this game if that's your mentality already.
Yeah.
People who do that will never find enjoyment in this game. Never. They're only going to find disappointment impacts.
Have you got a second controller I can borrow?
I'll send you
about
one.
8.
I found one yesterday, brand new in box. I was like, where the fuck's this come from? But anyway, yeah, so I've got a brand new one in box.
Let me guess, the receipt was still in there with it.
It was actually,
Of course
yeah.
it was.
Not the receipt for that one, a receipt
Yeah, for the other one that you
for the other one.
swapped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
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 The Paul method.
I've got a new method though now, and you just get the instant replacement that costs you an extra £7 at Curry's or PC World. So as soon as it breaks, you just take it back and they swap it instantly. And they do break, those Xbox ones.
Don't know what the hell you do to your controller to break the LB button every fucking time.
Apparently,
happened
the
to me
LB is a common fault on them, and it just stops working. But
Maybe I just swapped mine out before that happens. I don't know, but it's not happened to me yet. So maybe I'm just very lucky.
How often do you
I'm
swap a controller out, Mets?
How often?
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an extreme case. I basically buy every Xbox variant of controller that they put out. So I retire whatever controller I'm using and then buy the latest one. So every 6 months, maybe. I don't know.
oh, that's probably
But
why. It usually
I've never
takes about a
broken
year
one.
for it to break.
Oh no, you can't use one for a year. The stick drift that you're gonna have on that shit after a year.
There's some games that wear them down quick enough. It's like, whilst we were in the pre-season lull, I bought Space Marine 2 just to occupy me for the week before foot launch. And that game makes you grind your controller crazily.
Mm.
I'm sure if I'd played that for a month, I would have wrecked the controller. It's just so intense. Some of the stuff it makes you pull off, and you constantly just battering it. Hard to explain unless you play it for yourself, but yeah, that's probably the worst controller grinder since International Track and Field, something like that.
What a game that was.
Which we all destroyed many good PlayStation controllers over the years, I'm sure.
Oh, I'll tell you what I saw the other day. I saw some Sensible Soccer clips. Somebody had posted them on Instagram, which were a blast from past. I've
We're
not
not allowed
seen.
to talk about that. We're FIFA/FC players.
I've not
talk
seen that
about
for
the-
years.
Sensible soccer's for people who aren't very good at football games.
Hey, don't you
Ooh.
talk about Sensible Soccer like
Ooh.
that, Matt.
You ever played that, Hunter?
Never heard of it.
No?
I've heard of soccer.
Have an Amiga growing up?
Yeah.
No? Okay. So it's super simplistic football, but that was the game everyone played before the first FIFA came out, basically.
I was probably playing Super Tecmo football and Super Tecmo baseball and NBA Jam sorts.
Fair play.
What else? Anything else we want to talk about? Because we're going to do a separate pod completely.
There's one thing I want to ask you guys, and this is like me asking the podcast for help rather than the other way around. I have not encountered any of this SBC storage stuff that I see a lot of people talking about. Has anyone clocked this? How it works, where you find it? Because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm missing.
when you go onto your app,
It's just web app, is it, or companion app?
yes. What am I looking for now? Oh, it was when I was doing an SBC. It asked me where did I want to get the card from. Was it Concept, My Club, or SBC Storage?
So how do you put something in SBC storage?
Now
So
I've
when
got-
you open a pack, let's say you have a duplicate and you go to swap it out, both of them are untradeable. If you so for me, I hit R2, which I guess for you would be R trigger, leave them in the middle category for unassigned, hit the R trigger, and it'll automatically send them to SBC storage.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that next time. That's just totally passed me by. Just
So,
doing
like, a
the
lot of
usual
people-
stuff.
A lot of people are probably used to the old way where, I got 2 untradables. All I got to do is I can just quick sell it. No, you don't do that. Leave it in the middle, hit R2 or
I've
R
definitely
trigger.
quick sold some stuff I shouldn't have done. That's
Right.
silly, isn't it?
So now you can just send it to SBC storage, and that's another area for you to pull cards into your SBCs. And
Excellent. It's
it's-
amazing. EA actually listened to us
I know.
and gave us something we wanted.
And it's a really good practice to use SBC storage first when doing your SBC so that you can keep making space in there because you're going to need that space.
Yeah, so you can only put one of each card in SBC storage.
I don't think you can put as many as you want, I believe. Let me look. I'm almost positive you could put multiple. Yeah, I got 2 Koulibalys in mine. I got 2 Moratas, 3 Jimenez.
But you can't buy something off the transfer market and put it in SBC storage.
I think you can.
Wow, that's going to allow people to hoard like fuck.
Oh, it is. It's going to be your new unassigned list, isn't it?
Let me see if I can do it real quick. Let me try to find. You guys want to carry on?
I guess we are learning together in real time.
We are. I'm going to buy a Phil Foden, I think. Anyway. Oh, no, I've not got enough.
What's happened to your little stack of books you used to have in the corner behind you anyway?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the office is now the granddaughter's bedroom. So now it's filled with girly stuff. Still some books there.
Some Peppa Pig books and stuff.
My Little Pony bag, Peter Pan books, all sorts of stuff.
Excellent.
She told me I have to ready up, actually. She says, you can't be taking ages doing that podcast. She says, I want to go in there and play Minecraft.
So I just tried, but my transfer list isn't full, and it only gave me the option to put them on the transfer list. So I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it doesn't work so far.
If you can do your research in time for next week, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I hope you can't, though, because if you can do that, that's going to be kind of shitty for rigging the market on certain cards.
Yeah, especially stuff in short supply.
Especially on PC.
Yeah, I think they might have to revisit that one if they let you just put as many duplicates of a single card in there. That's oof.
I think it's only untradables.
How many you can put in SBC storage in general?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is there a cap on how many cards can go into SBC storage in general?
I think it's 100 or 150 maybe.
You can only do so much, but still it's...
Yeah.
I think it's untradeable, is it only, anyway?
Yeah, it is. I think it is untradeable only. Now that
so it can't be transfer market then?
No, I think it is just untradeable because it's just for those dupes that you can't do anything with.
Yeah, so instead of just discarding anything you pack, right, okay, so we're talking out our asses then. That sounds much more logical.
Right.
That's good, though. I'm glad we learned.
There we go.
Learning together.
There's a lot of misinformation out there
like,
about the
rate,
game.
And subscribe for all the important learnings as we go.
Yeah. You can learn with us. Anything else? Look, we're going to do a separate podcast this week dedicated just to market talk with Wise. Wise couldn't be here today. He was in a meeting. But Paul and Wise, I think all of us are going to get on and do another podcast for transfer market stuff. So stay tuned for that.
Sounds good.
Can I just give some quick club management advice while we're on the subject?
Buy low, sell
Paid
high.
Evos, don't do it. Don't do it until we figure out what's going on with this game. You might spend 50k, unless you've got coins coming out your arsehole. Don't be wasting 50k on an Evo. Like, it's really difficult at this time of the game, innit? You're like, I can make that 81 into an 84, and you're like, you get a bit carried away. But yeah, don't do it yet. Let's figure out what is a good FC25 card first before we start.
Yeah.
Throwing money about on Evos.
Sweet.
We've had some all right Evos, actually. They keep going extinct, the decent cards that are to go in them.
This Octopus one's really set things on fire. Like, you can make some excellent central midfielders out of that one already.
It's a decent boost as well, isn't it? Is it +4?
Course, it just targets people, the type of cards that EA know people want, like a good Kobe Mainu, because they really underrated his card by default this year. So everyone's going to be clambering to keep on upgrading because most of these Evos are going to be chainable over the course of the year. So every month or two, see that Mainu get better and better and better because he's not the type of card that gets a lot of informs. He has like the odd game where he scores one or two goals a year. but he consistently plays well. So being able to Evo that kind of card frequently will appeal to people, and I might be able to make a good on out of it this year if I'm lucky.
I'm looking to get a good Talisca.
I played against a Talisca, and his body shape, because he's quite skinny but tall, kind of works in this game quite well. So yes, I could see a decent version of him being very.
He's got like 62 balance, Annie, but it doesn't really affect him. I don't think he still feels quite smooth. I did my Founder Evo last year on Talisca, I think, and I think he had an 84. But it'll be nice to get a Talisca moving up into the high 80s at some point.
It'd be good to come back next week and sort of talk about some of the actual cards we've been using and stuff, because there's the typical type of cards that everyone wants to get, but I'm quite positive with the changes to gameplay there's going to be a lot of rough diamonds to be found, and we can really sort of start digging into the database in terms of who are the ones to watch, no pun intended. Not the ones that EA want to sell us, but the ones that we sort of find for ourselves. They're going to be out there. I'd actually like to hear from people in the Discord what kind of rough gems you found that you haven't perhaps used before, but just sort of suit the way you play in this year's game. Be interesting to check some of those out. I've been Rashforded and Verned plenty of times already this year because they're just way too good relative to their price, but I want to know some of the bargain basement finds that you've had. Let us know in the Discord.
He's shining like a diamond in a goat's ass.
Yeah. I tell you, it was a belter Carragher. I got him from my hero pack, and I thought, he's going to be dreadful. But he actually stepped in there, wins the ball quite well. I've not used him a lot, but he seems decent, and I don't think he's expensive either. It's quite cheap. So yeah, if you're a Liverpool fan, go get yourself a Carragher. Give him a try.
There we go. All right. That's got to wrap it up for episode 1, season 5. Thanks everybody for tuning back in, and buckle up. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks. This first couple of weeks in the pod. So stay tuned. See you then.
Hasta la vista, baby.